I recently stumbled across an article by a woman named Catherine Strange. This woman is clearly a man-hating feminist, and I realize that's a little bit redundant because all feminists are man-hating. But anyway, in the article that she wrote, I think it outlines how feminists think, just how incredibly twisted that worldview is, and for that reason I'd like to share it with you. The article was titled, "Why I Chose a Bad School for My Child. Diversity is more important than test scores." Before I go on, notice the implicit admission there, that she believes that diversity means lower test scores. I'll let you read into that what you think. But in any case, this woman was searching for a new home in Washington state, and in doing so, she was also looking at the schools that would be in the area of her home, right? Well, she decided that she wanted a diverse school, and she constantly used this word to mean non-white. Okay. Anyway, and she wanted to send her son to this, and she didn't do so blindly. And what I mean by that is, she looked up the school to see how bad it was before choosing to send her son to this bad school. Like, I can forgive somebody who looks around at different houses, finds the house that they like, and then realizes after they move in, oh my gosh, we're next to this horrible school, and they're in a really bad predicament. I get that. She didn't do this. No, before she purchased the home, she looked at this school. It's Van Asselt Elementary School. And she looked up at Great Schools, which is a website that reviews schools. The summary ranking being 3 out of 10. It's a 3% white school. Her son is white. And it has 80% free or reduced lunch children. Now, I looked up this school at the same site at Great Schools and also found something that she didn't mention, which is the most important thing, the proficiency in English and math at that school, which is well below average for the state. See, she listed these other things, but she didn't mention how it's doing academically, which you would think would be the priority of, a school. And she was choosing, remember, an elementary school. So this is a young son, and this is a crucial time for her child to learn the fundamentals that will actually prepare him for life. Like, we can argue about different high school courses and exactly how needed they really are in the real world, and how much you're going to use different parts of math and algebra. Okay, we can argue about that, but we all know that we need the alphabet. We need basic word structure, sentence structure. We need basic math, addition and subtraction. These are things that are taught at elementary level. These are things that are truly important to prepare a child for life. It's the foundation for everything to come. Like, also, in addition to the academics, the ability to relate to others and get along with others. And at a school where you're such a minority, that's going to be impaired too. I have to say, I think this woman is a terrible human being and a terrible parent. And I say that because she made a choice on one of the most influential aspects of her child's development based upon her desire to get the support of her peers, presumably, to get that pat on the head from whoever her peers happen to be, because they sound like trash too, if she's trying to appeal to them in this way. She sacrificed her child to that because she wanted to look good to them. She said, and I quote, "My son is already very privileged. He's white, upper middle class, cis male, and Christian. I don't doubt that he'll grow up to be a very privileged man. To me, the question is not whether he'll be successful, but what he will do with his success." Unquote. Now, actually, she's trying to sabotage his success. And he's not privileged. Why? Because she's his mother. That's why. She's actually trying to sabotage his potential for success. And she also seems to see that him being male, or as she puts it, cis male, which is actually just male, and straight, is a bad thing. Which means that she'll probably be one of those parents who encourages him to be gay or cross-dress. She hates him because he's male. And that is sick. She believes her innocent white son is guaranteed some kind of success in life because he's a white male. And she inherently believes that he needs to be placed as a minority in order for him to be a good person, in this 3% white school. Remember, he's a young child. He hasn't had a chance to be sexist or racist, nor a bad person of any variety, because he's a young child. But she justified her choice by deciding that she's preemptively accounting for these wrongs that he hasn't committed and may never commit. She put herself and her feelings before the well-being of her child's future. And a decent parent does the opposite. A decent parent puts his or her own child before anything else in the world. She surrenders her child at the altar of political correctness, the altar of feminism, I would say. And when it's finally time, maybe her child will do the same and drop her off in a Detroit or Chicago nursing home. It would be just, and, maybe he wouldn't want her to be in a position of great privilege, after all. She's also the same author who wrote another piece called, "Is It Really a Scary Time to Be a Man?" In that piece, she minimized the effects and number of fake rape accusations against men, as well as other harms that might come to men, because she saw this meme about women who are concerned about their male loved ones in the modern world. Like, you may have seen these. Women who are concerned that their brothers or their husbands or their sons will get some kind of fake rape allegation at some point in their lives, and their entire lives and their careers and their relationships will be destroyed despite it being a fake allegation. I think that's a valid concern. We saw that in the Kavanaugh saga, right? It's a very valid concern. And in the modern world, there is no real due process. There is a trial by media that takes place. Well, she was triggered by one of these, pro-due process memes and apparently outraged by it. Again, whilst having a young, innocent son that she seems to hate, well, she minimized the problems of men, the hardships that they face throughout life, despite them having the highest rates of suicide, the highest rates of workplace accidents, being less likely to go to college, than women. These are the people who are drafted when women are not drafted. There's a lot when it comes to being a guy. There's also the social pressures. For example, in a family, the man is expected to provide. Ultimately, that's still the case. Even as feminists go on and on about how women are in the workplace more and more, ultimately, when it really comes down to it, women expect men to provide, and men grow up thinking at some point, I'm going to have to provide for my family. These are all different pressures that exist for men. Anyway, she said, and I quote, "The Kavanaugh confirmation feels like a breaking point. If our politicians think the women of America are going to forget about this, they're dead wrong." Unquote. I don't even know what to say to that. It's just so kind of outlandish and crazy, but this is the way a lot of feminists think, apparently. And the innocent men have to be hurt because of what she imagines as the wrongs against women. And she's punishing her son. When you put all this together, she's punishing her son because of this warped ideology. And frankly, I think it's child abuse, I do. This kind of mother is raising American boys. It's not just her. If it was, then I wouldn't find it worth mentioning. But it's not just her, and it's become kind of normal. If it was just her, if she stood out, then we could just contact social services and they would recognize it as the child abuse that it is. But they wouldn't, because this kind of thing has become normal. And yet feminism is a mental illness. And this case shows how ugly and neurotic and destructive it can be. It does. To the men out there, if you find a woman who you like and you want to spend your life with, and then you find out that she won't take your last name, run. Run like hell. Run as if your entire future depended on it, because it probably does. Avoid feminists as much as possible, because that mindset is atrocious and evil and twisted. And even if you think you can live with it, you don't want your son to have to. Wait, if you enjoyed that video, please remember to like and share. I can't grow without you. Also, if you want to be reliably notified of new videos, don't forget to subscribe to the newsletter. If you're able to support the production of these videos, I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe at Subscribestar, or maybe get one of the healthier products, or even get some merch.